Hey, welcome back to another episode of the MindShare podcast. This is season 6. This show is sponsored by Kits Keep In Touch Systems, a 2-time international award-winning marketing suite for sales professionals. REM, Real Estate Magazine, Canada's premier monthly magazine for real estate professionals, and OREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, Canada's largest provincial real estate association. You can learn more about all of our sponsors by visiting my site, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to check out the details and get yourself registered for our annual MindShare Mastermind taking place May 26th through the 29th in person in beautiful Mont Tremblant, Quebec. Plus, be sure to download your free copy of our MindShare 101 goal-setting worksheet, as well as learn more about our one-to-one coaching and keynote speaking. Today's episode is number 276. He is a seasoned Ottawa realtor with nearly 20 years of experience in the real estate business. He founded and leads New Purveyors, a team of 15 with a boutique-style office in downtown Ottawa. With a passion for organized real estate, he works tirelessly to improve the industry. He is the OREA YPN Committee Vice Chair, sits on the Ottawa Board of Directors, and is an Inman Global Brand Ambassador. You may have also seen him featured in the Residential Specialist or Realtor.ca, along with speaking at countless real estate conferences across North America, or even heard of him through the Ottawa Clothing Drive, which he founded and which quickly became Ontario's largest clothing drive. Joining me on this episode of the MindShare podcast is team lead at New Purveyors, brokered by RE/MAX Hallmark, Mr. Matt Richling. Matt, welcome to the MindShare podcast, brother.
That was a good intro. I like that. I always forget what's written there. It's awesome.
Sometimes I sit there and I hear people reading my bio and I'm going like, oh man, we got to either update that or I'm like, that's just way too long. Just say David and let me come on stage. That's it. I'm good.
That's exactly it.
Dude, what's going on, bro? It's good to have you here, man.
Oh man, I'm relaxing now. This is a week we don't have an event. I think it's been a hectic last few weeks. You were on stage at Reality. You killed that. That was so good. That was so good. So
appreciate
it's
that,
been
dude.
Nice to kind of take a break this week, a little quieter, and which has been great. So,
well, speaking of break, weren't you just on vacation?
Yeah.
Like 3 weeks ago.
No, so midweek during Reality, she was like, "Hey, I think we should, go away next week." And I was like, "Oh, that's right, it's March break with the kids." So I think it was Wednesday we booked, flew out Saturday, and yeah, it was kind of crazy.
Where'd you guys go?
Just Cancun, just somewhere. It was their first all inclusive. We've got twin girls who are 6. So it was their first all-inclusive, and it was we hadn't been to one in a long time. So it was awesome to be able to kind of do that, and it was needed. Let me say that. Yeah.
Weather was good. Dude, you know what? I remember I've always said this about Mexico, or just in general. First of all, I think they've got the best people when you go on vacation. They're amazing, amazing people. They're amazing hosts. And then once upon a time, I sort of said, if I could take the people from, let's say, Cancun area, I could take the water from Bahamas and maybe the beaches from Punta Cana, put them all together into one place. I'm gone. See you later. That's where I'm staying for the rest of my life. But
to me, that was BVI's. To me, that was BVI's. The BVI's. Okay, cool. So I did a sailing trip last year. That was that. You live on a boat for a week. Cool. It's a hard life. Yeah.
How was the travel? Everything good?
Yeah. I think when, I've been pretty lucky to be able to travel the last couple of years with some of the stuff we do, and you get used to it, right? You get used to the delays, or you get used to knowing some of the secrets to avoid some of the delays. And so the travel's fine, So.
Yeah. You know what, man, we've been hearing so many horror stories from people who are just traveling, planes and delays and everything else. And so it's good to hear you had a smooth one.
Yeah.
It's good, man. Good. But, you brought up Reality.
Yeah.
Was there any particular highlight there for you that outside of doing what you were doing, and obviously you had the YPN party, there was a lot of good stuff going on. Was there anything specific that even from a session or just a takeaway that you had that just was oh man, this was powerful for me?
It was a pretty crazy week for me personally. I was lucky enough to be on stage both days. The first day
Yeah.
presenting the YPN awards,
Yeah.
and then the second day I hosted the panel, and I think the panel was a blast. And I really love panels because with the right people, you get such good information, especially in those settings where people have really put a lot of time and effort into, curating the panel of people. But all in all, I think the biggest one was that people love Ottawa. I don't know. It was, I know the numbers, and I know the organizers ended up doing more tickets than they expected.
Yeah.
It was a huge success. The lineups were great. The layout, the location, walking out of there, it was great. And I look forward to the next one without a question. It was a very heavy week for me. Obviously, we had the YPN event Boost,
Yep.
which was the main networking event for the conference. So, all of those things all looped in. It was a pretty busy time, and being able to kind of look back on it was really positive. A lot of people, right, from all over the province were there, and I love that. I love when good people come together, especially organized real estate, where we're all trying to kind of improve things and help navigate some of the political issues that we're dealing with, and just kind of move forward. It's great. It's really exciting.
You mentioned location. I thought it was fantastic. It's funny too because we had, I think, originally booked at the Westin. And then when I heard that we booked at the Westin, I was like, no, book at the Fairmont. And for some reason, I didn't even recognize the layout, thinking like Westin's attached, Fairmont is not. And then the first day we're walking over, I'm like, guys, why aren't we attached? They're like, dude, you were the one that made the executive decision here. I'm like, oh, all right, well then, fine. So we're like lugging stuff over. But that conference hall was wicked. And I got to say, as a nod to OREA, what we do, the first one in Niagara Falls back in like 20 or 2021 or something like that. 2020, I think it was. Yeah, 2020,
Right before
just before
COVID,
the whole
right
thing
before
happened,
COVID,
right? Yeah, exactly, right. That was a kick-ass event. And then, I know again last year in Toronto, and then of course this year in Ottawa. I mean, it's just been it really is an awesome event. They do a great job with it. Some wicked people that show up. I thought that the learning this year was great. I thought I personally I enjoyed this conference this year more than I did last year. And I don't know if it was just a layout or what it was. I thought the conference hall again was just a wicked cool venue.
Might have been because you were, MC, maybe.
Well, dude, let's be clear on something. I didn't make it to the YPN party that night. All right. And I didn't make it only for the simple reason that it's like I knew if I got there, I probably wasn't hitting the stage early in the morning to start that show up the way I needed to. So I thought, I'm going to be a good boy. I'm going to do my dinner with my team. And then we're going to call it an early night so I could go get prepared for day two. Because that was, buddy, there were, I'd say probably, if I say weeks, I'd say months of preparation, for our team and the OREA team leading up to that. Obviously, the OREA team had a ton of stuff to do. But from our end, there was a ton to get prepared. And then, the week before, it's like, hey, we've got a major change to the agenda. Everybody's like, oh, here we go. But dude, you know what? Awesome event. I think for
flawless. Anybody, they pulled it off.
Yeah, no, they pulled it off. They did.
Yeah. And they always do, right? That team is amazing. But I have a soft spot for Niagara. That was a great conference, right?
Buddy, that put obviously it was the first one, but that put it on the map.
Yeah.
Right. They kicked ass with that. And the thing about that one, which was cool, which I don't know which one I prefer, if I like the idea of like one main room or multiple rooms. I thought there was something cool about what was done in Niagara as well, where you could kind of go from here to there and kind of have different things you could attend, kind of like, Inman does down south of the border, which if I come away with anything for the Inman stuff, it's like you got these like 20 or 30-minute sessions max where you go and you listen to. You could take in a lot of content at what time. So I think Reality or OREA did a good job with that in Niagara, but I don't know. To anybody tuned in, you hear us talking about this, I'm telling you, next year when they put this thing out there, you got to be there. 100%, you got to be there.
Yeah. No
so speaking of events, though, Matt, you're involved in a lot of events. Like I watch from afar, I see it. I'm like, how is this guy making so much time? And not only that, and we'll get to the time thing in a second, but why? What is the benefit? What benefit does it bring you to be at all of the events? What benefit does it bring you to, I mean, this is going to sound harsh when I say, and obviously no benefit from being away from family or being away from your team per se for a few extra days, but like there's obviously a benefit here, you know, and I think that a lot of people don't necessarily see that. But buddy, we've known each other for years. I've watched your stature and your persona in this industry continue to grow, and I commend you for it. I think it's fantastic. You know, congratulations. You know, and I got to imagine that part of that is the fact that you are putting yourself in a place to be seen and connect with people. But I guess from your words, like what benefit does it bring you to continue to be involved in so many of these different events?
It's a good question. And, I think it's one that you have to revisit often as well. And that goes with everything, being able to ask yourself, well, why are you doing this?
Yeah.
Because at something like this, it's all selfish, right? And you have to admit that. You have to admit that you're doing these things for yourself, right? There's something about these events that you're fulfilling from within yourself, or anything that you're doing in reality, right? Like someone who's running a team, right? You could be making way more money if you're out selling, not just running a team, and that goes for everything else, right? So I think you got to be a little bit honest with yourself and saying, well, okay, well, why am I doing these things? And that's where I kind of start by answering that question. Is why I do them for myself. I do them because I enjoy them, right? I love being able to travel and network with people who are great people, right? The people in organized real estate, for the most part, I'd say 99.9% of them are amazing people who are, and it's all volunteer stuff, right? Let's be honest. Like, she reminds me all the time. She's like, listen, isn't that volunteer? Like, do you get paid for that? Do you get paid for that? Do you get paid for that? And at the end of the day, it's
so your wife and my wife talk to each other like when we're not looking at this. Is that how?
But that just goes to show you how much you at the end of the day you enjoy it, right? And then I think you can start to see what it does for those around you, and you can start to see the value that people get from some of the things that you can do, and so it kind of then starts to drive you, and then I get relationships out of it. Yeah. Right. And then, the easy one, referrals. Okay, sure. It's not the reason why I do them, but it's there's all of these little benefits. And, just, I think a lot of it's, the networking and the masterminds, like even like you've got the one coming up, which I'm really excited for, but like, you've got these events, and it's a dedication of your own time. There's a huge value, and not just necessarily a financial one, or a huge commitment, but it's time. Like you mentioned, family, right? Being gone for a week at a time, or being gone for, even just a few days, being able to, rely on them to step up where you're not. It's a huge commitment, and it's I think it's one of those things that you have to be. You don't just jump into it head first. You work your way there, right? You do one thing at a time, and you okay, this was cool. I learned this. This is what I gained from it. This is what it costed me. How can I continue to leverage that, or build that, or grow that, and you just kind of keep moving forward. And so why at the end of the day is obviously it's for myself, but you start realizing that it's more than that. It's for everybody, right? There's the team benefits from the network, the industry benefits from being able to get certain people in a room together to solve a problem. Or being able to highlight people, like, being able to run that panel, for example, at Reality was amazing, because all of a sudden I'm sitting there, being able to, in theory, highlight these amazing individuals who are doing good things in our industry, or the YPN Awards, the list goes on. And so, there's no easy answer, right?
No, listen, it's not an easy answer. And really where we're going with that whole thing, right, is like trying to explain to people who sit back and think to themselves, I don't have enough time. I'm going to be away from my family. And again, all of these are real. Like they're legit little things, or objections maybe, or even obstacles to get past. The flip side too is to say, like, well, why should I make this investment of time and or money into my personal development? And is it just the learning? Is it the learning and the networking? Is it all of the above? Is there something that I don't see from it? And I think that there's a lot of people that are reluctant to do so. Fear of the unknown, potentially fear of the unknown, right? Like,
I've been in the business 18 years, right? And
Yeah,
so my role in the industry, I think too, has also changed a little
for
bit,
sure.
right? So I'm not necessarily just day-to-day selling. I'm, my kind of my role has adapted as well. And so it is a little bit different there. I can leverage some of that experience, and I'm able to kind of build it. And that's, I haven't just built the team to let me be away for a week at a time. I've built it so that I'm able to go away for a week at a time. I've built it so that I'm not necessarily selling, and I've been very clear with structuring my day so that usually I can get home between for about 4 o'clock, and I'm usually with the kids until bedtime. I'm usually the one that puts them on the bus in the morning, so I've been able to build in that time with family so that when I am away, it's not like they've never seen me at baseline. So it's little things like that where you work towards them, and you have these little issues or these problems, and you try and fix them, and it's always a little tinker, as you continue to move forward. So yeah.
And I would probably believe it's safe to assume that when you first got in the biz, you probably weren't investing in all this time and going to conferences right off the hop, or is that something you did right off the hop?
I don't know. That was a long time ago.
Yeah,
No,
okay, right. But my mindset was obviously different about it. Right now, looking back on that time, it's almost like you look at it and go, "Yeah, this is stuff that's definitely helping me build."
yeah. I think at the end of the day, some of the things that have allowed me to really push forward, aside from just doing it for doing it for so long, one of the biggest things was the people around you, right? And being able to, how do we put it? Being able to like offload your time to others and trusting them around you, right? I know you've got an amazing team that surrounds you and helps you
So
build
grateful, man. So grateful.
that you
Without
do,
them, like
yeah,
you can't
right?
do what you do, right? There's no way.
Well, that's it.
Yeah.
People, I came back from vacation, and then in 4 days we had a pretty big conference in Ottawa that we ran. And people are like, how do you have time for this? How did you do this? And I was like, well, you know, it's not just me. Like, we have an amazing team of individuals who dedicate their time into building up the brand, building up the team, and
Yep.
seeing everyone succeed. And so being able to trust them is one of the big ones. I think early on, when you can start trusting the people that you bring into your organization, and to say, hey, no, I know you know how to do this. I trust that you might stumble, and you're a human as well, but being able to trust people is huge. So.
Dude, you know what? It's funny. We talk about that often with people around the investment into yourself, the confidence into like what will happen if you take this leap, right? And part of that is something like growing a team. Part of that is like something like bringing on a team member where there is an investment of time and money to do so from, let's say, the team lead's perspective, right? And that's having the confidence of the fact that you're actually going to get some results out of it, right? But building out the trust. I mean, you look and say that, like, I think, your team is what, 15 people, right? 15 people on there. Um, you got 15 people on the team. I guess when we talk about running the real estate team, like the first thing is, I mean, there's so much that people don't understand about what it actually takes to run something that's successful like that. But maybe moreover, like, I mean, I was telling you before we got on air here, got a set of clients of mine that, just in particular come to mind right now that were at the mastermind last year. And at that time, it was like trying to, trust in the process, right? Making sure that everything we're doing is actually working. And now we're sitting here talking like not even a year, well, almost a year later, but not even a year later, going, yeah, we got to look for like people to bring on into the team. We got to look for expansion, right? Because they've been doing the things that we've been working on as coaching clients for a long time together, and then coming to the event and then looking at the growth and looking at the opportunities. And now you got that next level of like confidence in what you got to do. You all see the next level of opportunity because you see others who are doing, you kind of go, can I emulate? Can I learn something from them? Can I apply that for myself? So when we think about your team and going again, 15 people, what would you say is sort of that? And we could have a full blown conversation on teams, and you know what I mean. That's its own episode. But maybe the key to kind of starting one and having that idea around what is the actual goal I've got as to why I'm doing that. Does that make sense?
Yeah. You can hear me okay, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, perfect. So I think the why has definitely changed, and I think, or let's say we've adapted to a change in that, and that goes without saying. When we started the team, it came after a lot of failures. And I think that's you have to also be prepared for that as well. I had a team back in 2010. I had a partnership, lasted 6 months. It was very successful, lasted 6 months. I then had we'll call it a team where I brought an agent on, but you look back at it, I had no leads, no support. I had no idea what I was doing at the time. And then I kind of took, we'll call it time off, right? I probably spent like 4 years, 5 years just doing status quo. I was happy with my production, and it was just easy, right? I didn't have to break backs to do production, and then I think we had the twin girls back in about 2017. And that was, I think, the kind of a bit of a catalyst. And it wasn't like, I needed to build something for them. It was almost like I needed to prove that we could do it. And there's an agent in my office who used to kind of like, you say like, listen, you got huge potential and you're wasting it. And so that was a lot of that catalyst, that voice and the catalyst to stand up and say, all right, let's actually do this. That was around the time I brought on our admin, Carly, who's still with us today. So that was almost 6 years ago, and or more than that now, I guess almost 7. And we started building out just systems for me. So I was a sole agent in production with an admin. I wanted to get to the next level. I think I wanted to go from like 250 to like 400 or something, right? And I wanted to do it. I wanted to do it leveraging systems. I didn't want to really put in too much more time. We had the family now, so trying to leverage. This is where I started to get aware of my time and how I wanted to be spending it. And so we did that, and that went well. And then, through that, you learn a lot about HR, and you learn a lot about, managing people, and you just continue to grow. And then, one of the managers was like, hey, you should look at Matt's team, or joining Matt, because he's a good person. And this person came from a really bad team that there was, bad things going on internally. And she was like, Matt's got a wife and kids, and he's a good guy, and he's not going to, take advantage of you. And then you're just constantly learning, constantly trying to improve. And it's a slow build. You have little issues, you fix them, you keep twinkering away to see things grow and improve. And back then there wasn't this thing about, let's grow a team and let's have 3,000 square feet of office space and do all these cool things. It was just like, hey, let's just do better. Let's just continue to improve the client experience. Let's just continue to grow. Let's continue to push. Brought on another agent, and then at that point, I think we brought on one more. Then I brought on a marketing person. And you just kind of keep doing this, dance of all right, as people join, we can start investing in them. When we were when we were 2 agents plus me, that was when COVID had hit. And that was really interesting to go through. We took our own retail space. So I took 750 square feet of retail storefront space, which I basically converted into like an office space. It was office plus kind of like a boardroom table, which kind of was a dining table, and then like a lounge, which was basically just a meeting area. And so we had this kind of really cool, unique space, which I loved. I loved the idea of it. It was right where I sold a ton of units, and it gave me a way to start putting my mark on how I wanted to run my business, and do things differently. Right. Mm-hmm. And we were able to be, that was kind of along the time when we came up with the brand, and we were able to do things a little bit differently. We were able to do things our way, right? Able to show support for our admins where, they work 9 to 5, not, 24 hours a day, and putting their lives first, and just all these little differences that we were able to start doing. And because we're able to leverage the systems, because we're able to leverage, I think at the time we were using RealVolve as a CRM, which really allowed us a ton of customization. We've moved away from it now. Now we're huge FUB supporters, but or follow-up boss, I should say. But yeah, you know, and you just build systems, and you're just constantly trying to improve. You're trying to, you know, you start with really trying to improve the customer experience, and then you try and improve the agent experience, and then you're trying to grow the business. And then I think there's that point eventually where you start realizing that you're running a business. You don't have a job. And that was a huge shifting point, right? And I was very lucky during COVID to be able to step away from production. I don't think I think about it now quite a bit, and I have a lot of conversations with some serious team leads going like, why are you still selling? Why are you still in production? And because I'm a big supporter of people getting out of production when they're ready. I think I was very lucky that happened during COVID. And, you know, because of the success that came with that and the money that came with that. It was kind of a leap of faith. It felt right. You know, you know, when someone's doing a job better than you can. And I think it was just being able to be, acknowledge that and be honest about that. And you kind of find what you're really good at, and you try and plug the holes with the right people so that you know, your ship's staying afloat, and then you find a really good motor and you just go. So,
dude, there's so much good that no, bro. Listen, I look. You look for these little things that are coming out of that, right? And there's some key points there that I really want to emphasize on. One of them was you started with failure. You used the word failure, right? There was a lot of failure. There's been a lot of failure, and you backed a lot of that up with, tinkering and small little steps, and you try things and you see what works, and then you learn, and then you keep going. And it's the same kind of model that I teach, when we talk about like where success is and like what it takes to get there. And it's just a process of try, fail, learn, right? And I'm constantly trying, I'm constantly failing, and I'm constantly learning. And as long as I get up and I try again, well, yeah, I set myself up for the opportunity to fail again, but every time I fail, I'm learning something. And if I look back, I go, look how far I've come. And that's where most people stop, right? Most people are looking for perfection. Most people are looking for like the end goal yesterday. The end goal doesn't happen yesterday. Perfection is a figment of everybody's imagination. This stuff doesn't
You're on episode, what, 276?
276,
right? Go, like, everyone go back and look at episode 1.
That,
point 276.
Right? Right. Bro, we've been doing videos since like video was like a thing, right? Like it became like a thing. We started doing it. When I look back at those videos, and like, no shit, and people have seen me do this, but I'll play some of those older videos on like while I'm on a stage. And as everybody's laughing at me, I'm like hiding behind a podium or something, being like, I can't believe I played this. And I'll even call myself out on video on stage. And I do it to reinforce for people that look at the growth. And then I try to emphasize to people that, like, if I didn't do that one and all the ones that came from that, I wouldn't be here on this stage in front of you today. I wouldn't have the opportunity to teach you and be with you and share with you and collaborate and all that other stuff. It wouldn't be there, right? Much the same. Trying to help people break down the barrier of fear to go, look how bad that was. And I still showed it to you again, just to show you that you do have the ability to do it. So as you talked about failure, I think it's a really important point to emphasize to everybody, right? Like, look, we're talking today about your massive, your secret sauce to massive success. And really, is there one particular thing? We both know there's not. And quite frankly, anybody tuned in right now that came here looking for that one magic pill that Matt was going to share with you today, I mean, there's already been 10 of them that have come out, right? Take note, pay attention, then go listen to another episode of the MindShare podcast. Go read a different book. Go listen to videos. Go follow your most, favorite like icons out there. Everybody will tell you a very similar story. Fail, but fail forward. Keep trying, keep doing. Now another thing that you brought up there, which I thought was absolutely massive, imperative, and I think it's something that a lot of people don't take enough time to consider. And I may not do this justice in saying it verbatim to the way you did it, but we wanted to help our clients. Then you started talking about helping your team. Then you started talking about being real people. Then it went from like, instead of 24 hours, it's like a 9 to 5. We really respect our people and like we want to treat them well. And so much of what you shared there was about how you're taking care of your people, be it them like your actual clients and or the team members. So doing what you can to serve others has actually led to your success.
Yeah, you want secrets. That's probably the biggest one. I remember that there was a really cool point where you shift from, and there's, when you shift the focus from focusing on the consumer experience to focusing on the team experience or the agent experience, it was a really cool moment because you spend your entire life as an agent focusing on improving the client experience, and that's as we should. And then I got the ability to now change my entire focus. Well, I shouldn't say my entire focus. Obviously, we're still focused on improving the client experience, but my main attention could start focusing on improving now the agent experience, right, and the staff experience, and and being able to improve that, which was really cool too, because that was almost like a whole new job in and of itself.
And that's the next level of leading, being a leadership, right? And that's again what everybody, it's important that everybody does truly understand is like you're going to get into this desire to have a team, to have a group of people with you alongside of you, a team lead, whatever you want to call it, however you envision that org chart. Understand you're there to serve, you're there to help, you're there to be there to help lead people. You can't just say, okay, I've got a team and then walk away.
It's funny you mentioned org chart because I love kind of breaking it down. Internally, I explain it as our org chart is this long linear line.
Yeah.
We stay away from pyramids. So we're this long.
Yeah, well, I didn't use that word exactly, right? Like, you know what I mean? Yeah.
But because we all need each other, right?
Yeah.
We need our agent concierge. As an agent, you need your agent concierge to do your offers and to do your showing sheets, and you need your client concierge to be able to raise a little service that you're doing, and we need our marketing person to be able to handle the offload of the listings and all of our marketing and our socials, and we need Remax, we need all of our support structures included, right? We need them. Without one of those, we as a whole or individually would fail. And then I even take it a step further and I say to a client how we do stuff internally. I should say externally for this, but how new Purveyors handles it is that we're more of a bullseye. So again, we try and stay away from a pyramid thing, but we're a bullseye where the agent is the center. All right, it's not the Matt Richling show. It's not even new Purveyors show. We're starting to shift how we kind of look at that and where it's branded, the position of the brand. But we put the agent in the center of that bullseye, and we have all these support structures around them for the consumer. So consumer facing, it's more of a bullseye where we want our agents to be the center, right? They're the meat and the potatoes. They're the main, the hoopla. And then they've got all this support around them, making them the best, right? It's their client concierge, it's their, marketing person, it's their brokerage, right? And it's all of these things around them, because without those, they wouldn't survive. And it's this thing. So we're just kind of shifting the focus around a little bit to what we think feels right and what works. I think when you think a little bit more long-term, a lot of times it's easy to chase money in this business. And I think when you can move away from making that your main priority and putting people first, I think that's when you start to see, success or people, gravitate towards that.
I echo that. Like, for us, it's like, look, who you hiring to speak on the stage? You're hiring David. Coaching, it's David. And we've done that very much on purpose. But the company is MindShare. Right. And that's because there's a team of us. And quite frankly, I'm not here today without this team with me. I'm not here today without so many amazing clients that I get to work with. Right. So, it really does. It takes a village, right? Like that's what they say. Now, as we talk about helping people, I got to bring this up because, dude, I had no idea about this thing. And again, I'm in Toronto, so maybe that's one reason why I don't know. But the Ottawa Clothing Drive, you started that. And from what I understand, it has become Ontario's largest clothing drive.
Yeah, we'll take the title. I don't know. It's cool because I was an agent.
Though, dude. Like, yeah, that's wicked.
Yeah. So literally, you're just an agent. Remember, you're just trying to provide back, right? You're trying to do something. You're trying to get your name out. My bread and butter, growing up in the business was condos. That was
Yeah.
how I kind of, that's how we kind of got to be where we are. Was really just a focus on condos, and well, every spring and fall, I'm cleaning out my closet. I'm trying to make room. I'm trying to, move things around. And in condos, you don't have a lot of space. So I was like, well, why don't we do this clothing drive? And so I'll go around and pick up clothes. And so it started out, I think the first year we did it, we did a smart car size pile of clothes. That was cool. Then the next year we filled a hotel, one of the bigger hotel rooms at Marriott. We literally, there's a crazy photo of like the room just packed with garbage bags, and you don't realize what it is at the time, but it was insane. It was insanity.
So cool, man.
And then, then it kind of lost its way. But and again, we built it upon the idea that you're going to get rid of these clothes. Let's make sure they go to local establishments that can use them. And we'll even make it easy for you. We'll go around and pick them up off your front porch or out of your condo building. And so that was successful. And then a couple of years ago, we were like, you know what, we should do this again. We have a local courier company. I don't even want to call them a courier company. They're more than that, called Trexity. And they basically stepped up and was like, you know what, we'll do all your pickups for you. And so we ended up then our local OHL team, the 67s, have their arena, and we ended up partnering up with those guys, and they ended up allowing us to use the ice rink to basically on event day, basically bring all the clothes in, have them all sorted.
Dude, you guys had that many clothes coming through?
Yeah, it was
That's wicked, bro.
But and we had amazing people behind us to make that happen. Tons of volunteers. It was a crazy weekend. It was a crazy thing that happened in the office, but it was special, right? And then I think some of the coolest thing from that was being able to do the deliveries. And you're delivering like, I don't know, a van full of clothes to this small community center that would never really, unless you're in that community locally. This is all within Ottawa, right? And they're like so grateful to receive, like, let's call it 10 bags of clothes. That's right. And it was really cool to be able to see that direct impact happen. And so, it was really cool. And it was amazing the people that got behind us and that sponsored, and to be able to kind of help make that happen. And it was really special. It was really neat. And I haven't done it since, because I was
going to say, you still doing it or no?
that took a lot. That took a lot, because that one was a lot on me. And because you need buy-in from everybody, and you need that support. And so that was a lot. That one was a huge one. Definitely knocked me out for a few days after that. But, at the end of the day, it was a huge success. And, nothing from what we're aware of came anything close to that. Most of the time now that you deal with clothing deliveries or donations, it's for, it's for financial gain, right? So those bins that you see, they're all, usually those are for financial gain. So we wanted to make sure that where these clothes wasn't that, and that they actually went back to the community. So
you're not still doing it now, though?
I don't know. They can tweak my arm maybe, but twist my arm, but no, so, it was a ton. Yeah.
Tell me this though, because we've done we've had our friends from the ORCF on, Ontario Realtors Care Foundation, who do some fantastic stuff, and not only have, a really cool motorcycle ride that I totally enjoy, which again, for everybody tuned in, September 12th, one of the rides is going to be leaving from Ottawa. So be sure to get involved. And dude, are you taking part on that with us?
Yeah, so I kind of got voluntold. Amy's making me do it. Amy's making me do it.
Good. Well, then we'll see you there, brother, because that was a wicked event last year. We raised a ton of money, but I was going to ask you here, why should other people want to get involved or start something of their own, create their own initiative? We come back to the power of. I mean, if I said to you, and I maybe boil it down, like, is this just you wanting to help other people? Is this like, hey, it's really good for your business? Like, I guess how many times people say, I don't have the time for that. Like even what we just said here, we understand how big of an endeavor that is. It's not a small undertaking. And as you're talking about the car, then the hotel room, then the logistics, I'm thinking in my head, in the background, I'm going, okay, wait, how'd you get the word out? How'd you coordinate? How many people did it take? Right. And you're nodding your head for sure going, yep, you get it. Right. Cause I get it. There's gotta be so many things going on in the background that we didn't even touch today. But most people put up a roadblock to that and say like, nah, man, too much work. Why should they want to get involved with something like that or do something of their own?
Well, I think because you can. I don't have a good answer for you because
I like that. No, I like that though. I like that, bro.
But you sit there going like, why should you do it? And at the end of the day, there's all those benefits that come from it, and it's really hard to separate those because at the end of the day, it put me on the radio. I was able to get the support from the radio station, so I was doing interviews to push that. Like, there's such immediate benefits that from a business standpoint, they're just no brainers, but they don't make sense. Like they really don't. Like you can buy that time for a much better price than than giving your volunteering your time away. And so they do and they don't make sense. And at the end of the day, because you can is probably the best answer that I can give.
I love that answer.
When you have the ability to do something like that, that's, and that it will impact. And I think that's, it's easy for me to say, okay, I can go cut a check and I can go do something, but it's not the same. It's not going to have the same impact. It's not going to have the same, and I don't want to take away from organizations. Like, I know our food bank can take, a $1 donation. And I think they turn that into I think it's $7 or $11. Like there are organizations that financial donations are amazingly, they're very helpful for and they succeed. But individually, why should an individual look into it? Because you can, because that's why we're here. Right. And because we're all part of communities. Realtors Care is another great example. Like, you don't need to go out and create something that's never been done before. Just raise some money for Realtors Care, right? Our internal team, we keep kicking ourselves because we'll do something small within the office. Like we did a Halloween party for our agents and for their close clients, like a Rager style fun, like a fun one. And we was like, we should have done something to attach to a charity. Like, I mean, you keep kicking yourself, and that's okay. Like, you're learning from things and you're realizing there's avenues, right? And yeah. So why? Because you can. There's just no better way to explain it.
Simple. Had you stopped right there, not to say like don't keep going, I'm saying, but like right off that, because you can. I think I love that answer, man. It's so true. I've said this before, and I know people have heard me say it, but I've had people say to me before, because I tell people like gratitude, intention setting, and somebody like, I don't really have a lot to be grateful for. I'm like, wait, you're here. Like, you're here right now. You have a business. You've got a family or a house, a car. What do you mean you don't? Do you understand? Like, we could have all the water we want right now, and there's other people that cannot. Yeah. Because you can is a beautiful answer, bro. Now, I will say this though, because you get a lot of people that have excuses, and I imagine you'll run into this stuff with people where, I don't have enough time. That concept of time. I don't have enough time, or they give you an excuse about that. What do you say when you hear that from somebody? Hey, did you do this? I didn't have time. Or why don't we do this? I don't really have time. What's your answer to people when you hear that?
It's a choice. At the end of the day, it's a choice. And I think it's just an understanding that they do. It's just a priority thing, right? They're putting something else over. And that goes with everything, right? That goes for your health. That goes for your family. That goes if you're spiritual, like anything, right? Yep. Anything at all. You have the same amount of time as everyone else does. And how you would like to spend that is up to you. One of the presenters from the conference last week, Dr. Hetz, my buddy Sam, he was like, we all have the same amount of time. You just got to block off what's important to you.
That's right.
Right. Whether that's, your talk with your coach, whether that's, a one-on-one with a member on your team, whether that's time with your kids or just personal time, you've got like, if it's important to you, you will make room for it. and you will block it off first. And, like, yeah, of course, there's going to be times when I'm not going to have dinner with my kids, and there's going to be a reason why. But most of the time, when I can make that my priority between 4 and let's call it 7:30, they're my priority, and yeah, my do not disturb mode will automatically go on. And there's certain phone numbers, like the agents on my team who can bypass the do not disturb mode. But other than that, my focus is on the family. And if they need me, then yeah, of course, the family understands. But, there's priorities in your life, and you just got to decide which of those at that time is of more priority. Right. Because that we all know things will change, right? Your health will change, certain priorities will change over time, but certain things deserve your priority, and you've just got to decide which of those at your time is more important.
I like the answer to that, choices, right? Because we all do have choices for how we want to spend that time and what we want to do with it. And I hear that often from people about how little time they have. And I wonder, like, do you have a calendar? Do you track your goals? Do you know what it is you want? Like, I mean, the way you just said, like this, that sort of like do not disturb from whatever, 4:37, whatever you mentioned there, my calendar from 7 a.m. to 8:15 says kids. And you look at it and go, kids? I'm like, yeah. But why is that? Because they're not at school yet. I get to hang with them, right? Like at some point they're going to get old enough and like they're going to move out or whatever. And I'm not going to get to hang with them. Now I get to have my daughter under my right arm, my son under my left arm, watching my sports highlights. I'm just cuddling. Like it's the best thing in the world, right? But again, how do you make that time and do it with a free, clear, and open mind and no distractions, right? It's very much to understand, like, what is it that I want? So it comes back to those choices.
Well, don't get me wrong. It's still hard. Like I still battle having my phone. That's an internal conversation in the family. Like,
welcome to 2024, right?
And we're human, right? We all make mistakes. We're all trying to, improve an element of our life. But I think you asked a specific question. Yeah, the answer is my calendar is my life. Or you've heard everyone will, you'll hear people say if it's not in the calendar, it doesn't exist, and that's a valid point. That's pretty much that's my it's got to be in the calendar, depending on which calendar it is. If it's the family calendar, if it's the the work calendar, and then what was the other element? The calendar. You've got to have the calendar.
For sure, man. Speaking of that,
you were asking about goals.
Oh, goals. Yeah.
Well, yeah,
I do it.
Yeah, well, it was interesting. I was reviewing Q1 goals last night. Going over that, and kind of renewing everything. So I'm really specific about taking, once a quarter at the end of the quarter, but as we gear up for the next quarter, to really dive deep into, the past goals for that quarter, the next quarter.
You're talking my language now, bro.
But you have to, right? And it's, I think the coolest thing was when you can look back and go, damn, I forgot that I wrote that in there and we accomplished it. Man. That's some of the coolest. That is like some of the neatest stuff.
But the best part is that you're actually tracking, so you can actually recognize that it happened, as opposed to it just happening and like it's a fleeting moment, and then you're constantly struggling to search for the success. And I love what you said about the fact that you look at them quarterly. I emphasize that all the time, right? Like
we're running a business now.
Dude,
we're running a business. So you either take it seriously, right? And you either acknowledge that, all right, I'm a business, I'm running a business, or you don't.
They're choices, right?
Yeah.
Hey, YPN, we kind of just briefly touched on it when we brought up reality, but I wanted to come back to it for a moment because you are the chair of the YPN. Talk about time, talk about family, talk about choices, talk about involvement, talk about helping people. Geez, the long list over here. Anything you want to share about YPN right now that we can help just spread the word about that and for anybody not understanding, Young Professionals Network.
Yeah. I endorse it as Young Professionals. There's some people that think it should be for your professional network, and that's fine.
Ooh,
I know our board locally, that's how they call it. Young Professional Network basically is, there's kind of two mainstreams. It's networking, it's education. It's originally around to help find future leaders in organized real estate, help people grow their path, get them into volunteering. That's the easiest way to start is through YPN. It's an easy workload. It's fun. You're putting on panels, you're putting on networking events, you're throwing parties. And so YPN at its core is about helping get younger agents in the business started on their journey of volunteering in organized real estate. And I love it. I think it's really cool to be able to do some of those events. I've been very lucky and fortunate enough to be involved in YPN on a local level, on a provincial level. I represented Korea at one of the NAR YPN events, and so a lot of the networking there. And it's really cool. It's really special to see the changes that it can bring within the industry, especially when there's so much, let's call it stress on the industry. It's needed. And so I'm a big supporter of YPN. There's so many amazing people that have kind of, we'll call it, come through the YPN network in leadership today and have graduated, outside of it too. And so it's just amazing. And we're a big supporter of it. And, there's a lot of chapters in the past, let's say 12 months that are started up. So Kingston just started theirs. Nice. Thunder Bay is trying to start one right now. There's a lot of positivity within the YPN network across Ontario. And it's a huge team that supports it, and it's been amazing.
So if people want to start a chapter or find out more, where do we send them? Where do they go?
I think for another week, I'm chair. I don't know. I think it ends. I think it ends in a week or two. So you can definitely reach out to me, and I can help point you in the right direction. Cool. Obviously, best thing to do is go to OREA.com, and then I think I forget the tab, but it's YPN's on one of those little buttons at the top. And reach out to Julie or reach out to any of the directors. Any of the directors on the board are amazing people. They'll point you in the right direction for sure. But, reach out to even your local directors and ask them about YPN, or ask them about, getting involved or even just volunteering. So I know some boards have difficulty in staffing numbers. So, they might not have the agents to start a chapter, but, whether you want to volunteer provincially or locally or it's a great chance to start and to get involved. So.
Hey, listen, this comes back to helping people. It comes back to networking with people. It comes back to getting involved in your industry. Hey, and you want to see and be seen. Well, we call it building MindShare. It's a great opportunity. I really believe it is.
I got a question for you. I'm really pumped for
hold on. We just turned the tables, everybody. I'm being interviewed on my own show. All right. Talk to me, bro. Talk to me. I got my sleeves rolled up now. What's up?
I want to hear it. Well, I don't know. We jumped on the call and we had like 3 minutes before the start. And you were like, hey, it's going to be awesome. And you literally were like hitting me with all this stuff. And I was like blown away. And so I don't know, I would like to take a few minutes to thank you. And I'd like to hear more about it, because I think from what I heard, it's going to be awesome. You've got proven success behind it. And so I think there's a ton of value there for I'm excited to go. And I know that it would be really cool to hear more about it.
Yeah, no, I apprapate that, man.
If you want to, I don't.
No. I think it's cool. I think this is a very cool turn the tables moment here. I'm happy to answer this question for you. No, but seriously, MindShare Mastermind. We put this on last year for the first time, and really we hadn't done one like this before. I've hosted other masterminds where people brought me in to facilitate a day, 2 days, and I got to tell you, look, you've seen me, on stages. I don't think there's anybody out there that would say that guy's not having fun right now, right? I have fun with it. I really enjoy doing what I'm doing. I enjoy working and helping people, working with people, helping people. What I have found, though, from a stage presentation, keynote presentation, standing on there for 60 minutes and not really getting to speak with people one-on-one, it's amazing. You can motivate the hell out of people. But then you get to that point where you go, what can we do to literally roll up our sleeves together? And wait a second, what'd you just say? Let's go deeper on that. Let's not just have you hear what was said. Let's not just have you go, oh, light bulb moment. Let's help you take that from A to Z. Let's figure it out. Let's take a problem that you have and actually solve it. Let's have everybody collaborate on that. So when you look at it and you think, well, and there's a lot of amazing conferences out there. I mean, you just hosted one. We know Reality we were just talking about. There's a lot of great events, and people should be getting involved in these. The thing about the MindShare Mastermind is we've reverse engineered the whole thing. And instead of saying, hey, you're going to come here based on what the agenda is, you're going to come here based on who the speakers are, what you're eating for lunch, God knows what hotel you're staying at. I don't want anybody coming for any of that. I want people coming there that go, hey, I'm really excited at the opportunity to just be in a room with David, and I don't even know who else right now, because I've got confidence and trust that I'm going to walk out of there bigger and better than I walked in. And so it's that opportunity now to bring a group of people together and do a true mastermind. No PowerPoints, no whiteboards, no visuals. You want to take notes? That's on you. Take those notes. What I don't want you doing is copying down what I put up on a screen. I want you to hear it. I want you to listen to it. I want you to actually consume it. I want you to discuss it with people. I want collaboration right at that exact moment. Then I want you to note it down however it really came through to you. Then maybe even clarify it with the group and go, hey, am I on the right track? So when you walk out, you can actually take what you learned and implement it. So when we first did it last year, we called it the event you know nothing about. And we literally said to people, meet us in Toronto. We're going to do 2 days in Toronto. Here's the checkout page. And we said, here, check out. And everybody, tell us more. No, show up on this day and just be ready. And we ended up selling out. We had an amazing room. And everybody's got to understand, this is a small group, very much on purpose. You're not coming in for hundreds and hundreds of people. I think this year we maxed it out like 35 tickets and we're already selling. Like things that, there's not 35 tickets left anymore. But what happens now is you come, and again, you walk into a room. You may or may not know people that are there, but it is a the right sized group that you can again see, be seen, and be heard. And you're able to collaborate the entire way through, right? You want to jump up and ask a question, you do it right then and there. You want to give somebody an opinion, you do it right then and there, right? There is no waiting. And I'll tell you, Matt, man, we spent 2 days last year, and the opening question that I had for everybody, we did one of those, go around the room, tell us where you're from, tell us who you are, and tell us why would you come to an event that you knew nothing about. And quite frankly,
I saw those ads and I loved them. I thought that was
humbling,
so good,
bro. It's humbling. Yeah. People say they trust. People say they're confident that we're going to put something on that they're going to love. It was very cool. But this was the coolest part, was we put on 2 days. And at the end of it, when we said to everybody, so let's break this down. What was our big takeaways, and what do you want to see for the next time? And people actually said, we want more time. So they wanted another half a day. So this year we're going 2.5 days. We're going to be in Mont Tremblant, May 26th we'll start May 27th and it'll go through the 29th. We've got a full day of learning on day 1 and day 2. We've got a half day learning on the Wednesday so that everybody could kind of take off and make their way home. We've got a group challenge that we're doing on the Monday night. We've got a group adventure that we're doing on the Tuesday afternoon. So we've got this thing really mapped out. And again, when people go, so tell me more, I'm like, I'm telling you. They're like, no, but I need to know who else is there. No. Are there any speakers there? Like, what's the topics? No. Well, but what do I have to just show up? I got you. And that's pretty much it, man. So it's a really different kind of event. It's a really different kind of setup that really truly gets people rolling up their sleeves and walking out, just on another level and another version of themselves. We did an amazing exercise at the end. I've had people say to me, they're like, oh, sometimes I go to these things and there's so much to consume. I just can't take it all in. And then I leave and I go back and I don't remember what I talked about or what I learned. There's no shot in the world you're walking out of here not remembering what you learned. And we've got a really cool exercise at the end of it all that will help you keep yourself accountable to actually pull it off, whatever it was that you wanted to pull off once you walk out of that room. We've had people double and triple their business since last year's event. I remember, I think I brought this up already, but we had, one particular group that came in and it was we had to kind of go through this thing of trusting in the process. And then as we are where we are now in the lifeline of just evolution of their business, we're talking about, again, organizational charts, right? So you talk about trusting in the process and having that confidence that you're going to bring in enough business to looking and going, I'm bringing in so much business. I need more people, so the success stories have been fantastic, man. And I don't know, dude, there's so much I could share, Mont Tremblant. It's going to be, again,
I love the venue. The venue is amazing.
Dude.
I mean, we're up there almost every other weekend right now. with the
Oh,
kids,
that's awesome.
and it's awesome. When I saw that, and I was like, ooh, that really piqued my interest, just the location alone. So it's cool.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
cool, man. No, I'm excited, dude. Excited to have you there. Excited to have a whole bunch of like-minded people that are going to be in that room. It's going to be super, super powerful, buddy. Super powerful, man. Thanks for asking the question. Seriously. I don't
Well,
even know if I
genuinely,
gave anybody anything to chew on right now. I would say go to mindshow101.com /mastermind. I'd say all the details are there, but like only the details we're going to share with you are there. Hopefully they're enough. You get, 2.5 days of learning and problem solving. Again, you're getting lunch on day 1 and day 2 is served. We've got a great hotel with a wicked discount set up. The venue is going to be fantastic. Again, like I said, the group challenge, the group adventure. Yeah, man, it's you get part of the MindShare Masters referral networking community, lifetime access. You actually get a free coaching call with me after the event, so we can break down like what you learned. So that's been really powerful for people as well. So there's just a ton
well,
of
see, I
value.
love that. I love what you said there, because you go to so many conferences, so many events, and all of a sudden you're okay, I'm going to do that, right? And then there's no follow through, there's no follow up even with yourself, and then being able to literally have a one-on-one coaching call where you
Yeah.
can, in theory, call me out and be like, okay, like what'd you do? How's
Yeah.
it going, right?
Straight up
That
though.
that
That's what it
that
is.
alone, that alone would bring me so much value, because that's where I'll often struggle with. You go to enough events that you're like, oh yeah, this is cool, let's do it, and then like 6 months go by, and so that's amazing. That's amazing.
Dude, no, it's good that you picked up on that. And I think that's that's a big value right there, because you really do, like, we spend time together. We're actually right there together. We're talking with each other. And again, it's a back and forth collaboration the entire time through, like with everybody. So you've gotten so comfortable in the room that you are open to sharing, you're open to objecting, you're open to, suggesting, right? And then you're also taking in your own stuff. And because we've all been there so tight together, I'm picking up on the things that you're expressing, the challenges you're having, the problem you might have presented. And we get to talk about that stuff after the fact to find out, did we solve it? And sometimes, you'll look and say, hey, yeah, I got exactly what I needed. And other times, like, hey, I heard this and here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? And we get to just brainstorm on that even further after the fact. Right. So, dude, it's so powerful, man. We're really, really pumped about the event. I'm just, I'm looking forward to, the people that are going to be in that room, and what they're going to be benefiting from when they walk out.
That's awesome. Oh,
Yeah, man.
now I'm
Dude,
pumped. Now I'm
so
I'm
good.
I'm
Yeah,
super
so
pumped.
good,
Yeah.
bro. So good, bro. Hey, I wanted to ask you this, just before you so rudely interrupted me to ask me about my event.
Yeah.
We talked about your goals, we talked about choices, we talked about time. When we think about the biggest challenges that we've got out there, you know, I would say, I guess maybe how do you handle them? But moreover, like, what do you do to keep your mind right in this business? Because I know that there's a lot of people right now that are, um, they're going through their challenges. They might have been in this business through the COVID period, which we know a lot of people had a tremendous amount of success. Things have become very real now. We're no longer selling houses in 30 to 60 to 90 seconds. It's more, 60 to 90 days. And it's got some people, their feathers ruffled, but for those that have been in the industry for some time, also recognize that's very normal. Um, but with the market being what it is, the economy being what it is, these taxes coming from everywhere, the cost of living is ridiculous in Canada. Mindsets are just taking a hit. What do you do to keep your mind right? What can we just any tips there for anybody right now that's kind of just in maybe a lull, a darker place?
Yeah. I think when to start it off, like we look back at last year, that was probably the hardest year that I've had ever.
Yeah.
Right. We had geared up to having this amazing year, even the year before it was, things were great. And the team we had a really hard year. We had brought on some agents that we expected, to do extremely well. We had a couple agents expecting to do 70 transactions a year, and ended up doing single digits type stuff. And that hurts the business, and that's me learning. That was me going through it. And so, I think at the end of the day, how do I keep my mind together, or how do we kind of get through is, number one is having that support system. So whether
Yeah.
it's your coach, whether it's your brokerage leadership, whether it's I'm very open, and I think everyone, especially, just for the taboo reasons, but I think especially men should all see a therapist of some kind, whether that's for business, whether it's for personal, whether it's for, relationships and stuff. So, having that support system around you to be able to, even other agents and ones that you look up to, like some of my closest friends are basically mentors to me, who, I've learned so much from, and I can bounce ideas off of. And I always tell them I get more out of my conversations with them than they get out of with me, but they disagree. And so having that support system around you, being able to, ask for help, being able to say, I'm struggling, I need something, to the right people who are willing to be there, support you, whether it's like, again, your coach, your brokerage support, your friends, your family, your therapist, whoever that may be, is an important one, right? Because I think often in this industry, it's such a looks industry. It's such a, look at the numbers. We're all amazing. We're all number one. And in reality, we're not. And in reality, we're all struggling with certain things. It says here massive success, and then it's the furthest thing from what I truly believe, so I think at the end of the day, it's having that team around you of your own support. The business is a lonely business, right? Let alone if you're, a coach, or if you're a team lead, or, there's only few people that you can talk to. Even sometimes your family doesn't understand what it's like being in the industry, or dealing with some of the issues. Oh, what, someone didn't return a key? Ooh, big deal. And they'll make fun of you. But at the end of the day, these are issues. These are problems. The stresses that clients go through are basically brought right back onto you, and it's a lot. And you need to make sure, as an agent, that you've got your support team around you to ensure that you can keep moving on. I'm a big believer in being able to take those moments throughout the day to refill your own teapot. It's kind of one of the tools I learned. So taking that time, whether it's in my car or in my, in a quiet space, just okay, just relax. Being able to listen to positive music when I need it, happy music. When I'm skiing aggressively, or when I was on the bike, I used to listen to very aggressive, metal music. Yeah. And now you have to realize that, sometimes you just need happy music, and it's good for you,
it's
right?
true though, man.
Yeah.
It's true. No, that's cool. Yeah. It's funny too, because as you bring it up, I think back to time again. And I think, a lot of people look and say, I don't have the time for that. But all that being said, so we go through this crazy roller coaster of this business on a regular. There's a lot of stress. There's a lot of external factors. There's a lot of internal decisions. There's a lot of choices that need to be made. Time is always of the essence. When the day is over and you've done everything you possibly could today, in this day, how do you know it's been a successful day for you?
It was funny. We had a little kind of quote unquote mastermind in the office yesterday, held by one of our team, our marketing person, Lauren. And she asked that question: what does success look like to you? And it's a valid question that I think we all need to kind of answer, right? And you can go a lot deeper into that, but and my answer was when the team is seeing success, when the individual team members are seeing their success, that's what success looks like. And so you bring it back to, at the end of the day, because that's a lot harder. That's a lot harder to quantify, if someone's doing well. So it becomes quite a bit more personal. Mm-hmm. How does your success look like on a daily basis? And I think it's being able to know that the journey you're on is the right one. The things that you're doing, the goals that you're setting benefit other people. Are you being a good partner, right? Are you being good to your kids? Or you can be a good parent. I think when you can sit there and have peace with a lot of those decisions that you're making day to day, then those become a lot easier, and your sleeping becomes a little bit better, and you can kind of move through life a little bit lighter, and being able to make quicker decisions, and know that you might not be making the right decision because you're a human, but you're at least making a decision that's going to benefit the right people, hopefully, and move forward. So it's a lot of like constant learning, I think, is the basis of just knowing, all right, we're doing the right thing. You know, we've got goals, we've got things we want to achieve. Are we moving in that direction? Did we do that today?
It's amazing. 276 episodes deep, 276 times I've asked that question, and still, once again, nobody brings up the word money. It's interesting, isn't it? To ask people how do you define success at the end of the day? What makes you feel successful? And nobody talks about money.
Yeah.
I love that. Matt, any final words of wisdom that you want to share with everybody before we take off for today, that you just want to put out there, you know, to help everybody build a little bit more mind share, they can get more market share, keep their mind right, anything at all? Final words.
Pay your taxes, number one. It's, you know,
yeah, you sure about that? I think we're having a revolt on that one, aren't we?
Listen,
I always thinking like nobody should pay.
No, I always tell all the agents, you know, have it deducted. Just don't think about it. Don't get into that trouble. You know, this is a long-term business. So you got to think 10 years ahead. You don't want that trouble. So just have that done, not right off the bat. Always be trying to grow. I think that's the big one, right? Always be trying to grow, whether it's, you know, up in here, whether it's over here, whatever it is, just always be trying to grow and improve, and be accountable. You know, I think that's another big one, and be honest, and just try to do what's right. I think if you can put someone else above your own needs, I think that you'll see success no matter what. So,
love that, buddy. This has been an amazing episode, bud. Really love the depth that we went into today. I think a lot of awesome stuff was shared. I thank you for making the time to join us on the MindShare podcast.
I appreciate you having me. This is, you know, I love your stuff, and you're, you know, such a good human, and yeah, man, I'm looking forward to Tremblant. So I'm just grateful. Yeah.
So good, bro. So good, man. Thank you, buddy. We'll see you again shortly.
Thanks so much.
You're either listening to this on one of your favorite podcast platforms. Maybe you went to my website, mindshare101.com. And while you're there, be sure to download your free copy of our MindShare 101 goal setting worksheet to help you conquer 2024 and become the version of you that you really want to be. Or might as well to get yourself booked for a live in-person small group mastermind taking place on May 26th through the 29th in Mont Tremblant, Quebec. For all inquiries, just get in touch with us today. Of course, don't forget, please leave a review at www.ratethispodcast.com/mindshare101. Again, a really quick, easy way to rate the podcast. We'd be grateful if you took a moment, big 5 stars, leave us a little comment, tell us how much you love it, and of course, share it out to everybody. But tune in on the regular. We got some amazing guests, just like we did today. If we haven't yet, let's connect on Facebook and TikTok at MindShare 101 and on Instagram at David Greenspan 101. I want to thank Kits Keep in Touch Systems, REM Magazine, and OREA, the Ontario Real Estate Association, for sponsoring this episode. This has been another episode of the MindShare podcast. Thank you for tuning in.